Hello again, welcome back. I spoke to you about my first day of this track work with McCAHON stable. As time went on, I was being taught to ride the race horses around McCAHON's own track because it was safe for me at that stage of my riding career. McCAHON used to ride the pony alongside me, and if my backside was too high or my hands weren't in the right position, he carried a long bamboo cane with him and he would whack you with it either on the hands or the backside if he thought you weren't doing what you should be doing. He definitely had a sadistic streak in him. He was always yelling at everybody. And you may remember I mentioned about the horses got excited when I was riding NATO for the first time and he called out and the horse got agitated. Well, every time he opened his mouth, the horses would get agitated because the boys that were being taught were so nervous of him that the horse could feel it and it made them more excited. Anyway, I persevered and gradually got better and better. And George McCAHON had a son-in-law, also a trainer, Jim Quinn, who was a lovely man. And he had an old horse called Cam Wing. So he and the boss didn't get along very well, but through the wives, they asked, could I ride Cam Wing at Rosebery Racetrack for my first track work ride. Got on old Cam Wing and rode him around. It was really great, to be on the track. And of course, you had to be careful to obey all the right rules and everything. But as my career progressed, Peter Myers would then ride work with me, alongside me. And if anything, the horses went faster than they should have gone. Peter Myers would always say to McCAHON, oh, it's my fault, it wasn't Bill's fault, always trying to protect us. And the other trainers, would hear him abusing us at the track, like yelling at us and whatever. And they'd give us a wink and, sort of give us a silent support. And I can remember one day, a trainer next to us, Freddie Hood, had a little red-headed apprentice. And he yet hadn't ridden in races either. But anyway, George McCAHON jokingly said to this apprentice, why don't you come and work for me, son? And expecting the kid to say something nice. And he said, I wouldn't work for you. You're always yelling at the boys. You're not a very nice man. And then Mr. McCAHON got stuck in and started to give him a really berating. And his trainer, Mr. Hood, he come over and I thought McCAHON and Mr. Hood were going to get into fisticuffs. Anyway, McCAHON, when we got home, we're sitting having breakfast and he walked over and he said, that kid, he will never make anything. He will never be a jockey. He's too cheeky. Well, that kid turned out to be a jockey called Kevin Langby. And Kevin won, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 premierships in Sydney and was very, very successful jockey, very successful. So McCAHON's prediction didn't come true in that instance. I continued to progress, got better and was able to ride some gallops. And one of my things that I always did was I used to sing to the horses. It became part of my persona. And quite often the trainers would say to me, give us a song, Bill. But I obviously didn't, but they all sort of teased me about singing to the horses. I loved the racing. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the horses. And I knew that if I could persevere with McCAHON, that I was going to make it. Shortly after, McCAHON called me into the office one morning and he said to me, next week, Bill, there's barrier trials, which are practice races. He said, you're going to be riding in those barrier trials to get your license to be a jockey. So I'll let you know what horses you're going to be riding, but I'm going to try to get you a few rides. So onwards and upwards, I'll let you know what happened in the barrier trials next time we talk. Take care. Bye now.